Good day, N5 students. Today we're going to be looking at activity 1.35 to be found in our textbooks on page 186. This activity will cover most of the Excel functions that we utilize on a regular basis. And we'll use this as a preparation for our upcoming internal assessment. I'm going to type in the information now. So I'll pause the video while I do that. Be back with you shortly. Okay, welcome back, students. I've now completed capturing the information. So now I can go ahead and start doing the manipulation as required by the actual assessment or activity. I'll start in cell A3 where I need to change the year. And the year should be 2022 there. Okay, so let's look at what we need to do. Okay, we've been asked to calculate the selling price, which is equivalent to the packaging unit price per kilogram multiplied by the cost price per kilogram plus 10%. Okay, so the recommended formula has been given to us. So it is B6 times C6. And then that's multiplied by 1.1, which is adding on 10% onto the cost of that. And that will give us our selling price. And then we can just copy that down to the rest of the products. And we use our function format when we're pasting. Okay. That's the first one. The second one, we need to then determine when to order more products. Your stock at hand is lower than 15, the new stock should be ordered. Display yes or else no. Okay, so here we're going to put in an if function. So we're going to start with equals if, and the logical test that we need to insert is if stock in hand is less than 15. Then we want it to return, and we put in our text in quotation marks. Okay, that's the if it's true, and we also put in no if it's not true. So we put in those both options there, and we hit enter. So in this case, it shows that we can order stock for that, and we can just copy that formula down to the rest of the products. Okay, using again the format function. Okay, then the third thing we need to do, we need to calculate our income, which is our opening stock, less our stock on hand, multiplied by the selling price. So we're going to go equals, and we're going to open our bracket. It's our opening stock, less our stock in hand, close the bracket, multiply that with the selling price. Okay, and we hit enter there. We can copy that down to the rest of the cells using our paste for the formulas. Then the next calculation we need to do is to calculate the total income, which is in cell H14. And here we can just use our AutoSum function to automatically calculate that. We hit enter. So that gives us the total income in that column. Next, we need to determine the percentage of income that each product represents as a percentage of the total income. Okay, so in order to do this calculation, I'm going to use some absolute references. So I'm going to first take my relative reference. Okay, divided by my total income, so the income for the specific product, and I'm going to anchor that by using the F4 key. Okay, and then I will format the cell as percentage, but it's already automatically done it that way for us. So now we can just copy the formula again. Okay, seems like one row we just need to still adjust all the formats. I'm going to change that number format on that cell to currency. Okay, well, in this case, they actually use the accounting format. And here too, accounting. And here we can apply the percentage format. Okay, so now we've got that. Next thing we've been asked to do, we need to calculate the total income rounded to the nearest 1,000 using the round function. Okay, so we're going to go equals round. And we're using that number. And we're going to round it to the nearest 1,000. Now, in order to do that, our rounding works. The positives reduces the number of decimal points. But if you want to increase it for the number of like tens, hundreds or thousands, you need to, for every one, how can I put it, digit position, you need to make it -1. So if you wanted to round it up to -10, you would be -1. -100 would be, sorry, if to the nearest 100 would be -2, and to the nearest 1,000 is -3. So in this case, we're going to go -3. So that gives us rounded to the nearest 1,000. Okay. Next one we need to determine. We need to determine the second largest selling price using the large function. Okay. So we use the formula equals large, and we specify the range that we want it to look at, and we want to find the second largest, so it's going to be number 2. Okay, so that's the value, and we can format that as currency as well. Then we've been asked to determine the average income of products using the average function, which is indicated as position H over here. So we're going to use our average function over here. And it's the income of the products. Income, so we're going to do it only on the products, not the total. And we enter on that one. Right, next one, I, is the number of products using the counter function. Bearing in mind, counter only works on text. So we're going to go counter with an A, and we're going to determine it on the text. Okay. And that's the number of products. Then we need to determine the number of products with package unit of 80 using the COUNTIF function. Okay, so we're going to go COUNTIF, and we're going to determine package Okay, that's the range that we got to do, and the criteria we need to specify in quotation marks is unit of 80. Okay, and we enter on that. Okay, so that determines, and you can actually test it and see that 80 does appear 3 times in that column. Next one we need to do, we need to determine the minimum stock in hand using the min function. So there we can also use our AutoSum function. Then we go to the min, and we're going to do it for the stock on hand. So we just select that range and hit enter. And then similarly, we can do that for the max, the stock in hand. Oopsie. And we hit enter on that. Right, then the next one we need to do is to determine the third smallest opening stock balance. Okay, so we're going to go equal small on that one. Oopsie, sorry. And the third smallest, we're going to go use the opening stock balances. And we're going to put position number 3. That's the third lowest we want. Okay. So now we've completed that. Now we've been asked to sort the records into alphabetical order according to the product names. So in order to do that, we are going to select all our data and just show that we're within that range, and we're going to use our data, and we're going to go to the sort function. Okay, And the first thing is we need to specify the column we want to sort on, and we're going to be sorting on products. And we're going to be sorting alphabetically, which is in that case is correct. So then we can click OK, and it will sort the products alphabetically. One thing I forgot to mention, if I go back into that sort criteria, is that there is an option here, and when I was selecting my data, I included my header, and then you can also specify in there my data as headers. And it's important to do that because then it will pick up the headings, because if you don't have headers, you're not going to know it. It'll only have the column numbers in there. So it's important to note that. Okay. Right. So moving on, we're on point 4 now on page 197. The next thing we've been asked to do is to display all monetary figures to display as currency with 2 decimal places and adjust the column widths as needed. Okay, so we're going to adjust all of these are currently in the accountancy format. So we're going to change that to currency. And there as well, we're going to change that to currency. There's a slight difference between using currency versus an accounting format. Because with currency, the rand symbol will appear right next to the number, whereas with accounting, the rand symbol will appear left aligned. So that's the subtle difference between the two. Okay, so now we've completed that. Now we also have been asked to display our percentage of income in the percentage format with no decimals, which we've already then completed. Okay, so we can then save our spreadsheet as Maze2. Go file, save as. And we are going to save this on our student drive. And we are going to call this we're going to call this Maze2. Right. Now we've been asked to create a column chart to compare the opening stock with the stock in hand. Okay. So we need to select our products, our opening stock, using the control key, and our stock in hand. So for those three, and then we're going to go to use the insert function. And we want to select the chart. And we've been asked to use a column chart. Okay, so we're going to use the 2D cluster column chart. And what we're going to do now is we are going to move the chart and put it into chart 1. So what we've done there is in the chart design, we selected move chart, and we're going to move it to a new sheet called chart 1. Okay. Then we've been asked to then change the chart title to opening stock. So we click on the chart title. We can just go and make that capitals opening stock versus closing stock in hand. Okay, so that's the title that we've been. Now we need to supply suitable titles for the X and the Y axis. Okay, so if we're looking at the X and the Y axis, so we can then click at the bottom. We can actually click on the plus sign over here. and we can go and put in the access titles. Okay, primary horizontal and primary vertical. And then all we need to do is change the names. So up here, I would call that stock level. Okay, and for the x-axis, I'm going to call that products. Okay, all right. So moving along. Once we've done that, we can use the chart. You can use the chart tools format tab to enhance the appearance of the bars and columns in the chart. So all that basically means is we can play around with it. For instance, we can use, if we click on the chart elements, we can actually display the labels, which is the values for a specific range. We can do that for both of them. So we can put in our data labels. Okay, so that gives you an idea as to what it is. We can also then move our legend around if we needed to. We can maybe put the legend on the right hand side, or you can put it on the left hand side if you prefer, just to help you to see where what is. Okay, so that's how you play around with that. Then once we've done that, we can save the graph as maze column chart. Okay, so we're going to go File, Save As. And we call it maze column chart. Right. Right, we're almost done with this activity. The next thing we've been asked to do, we need to change the chart type to line and save it as a line chart. Okay, so in order to do that, we click on a series, and all we need to do is there, and in our chart design options, we change the type, and we're going to choose that as a line, and we can click on OK, and then we can go again and save that as chart line chart, maze line chart. Okay. Then we can print that if we wanted to, and we need to insert our name as a footer, as a left footer. So the way we do that, we go into our page layout, we go into page setup, and we go into the header footer tab. Okay, and we're going to put in a custom footer, where we then going to insert our name, surname, and we can, on the right hand side, I like to do that, put in the activity number, activity 1.35, and okay. Right. So that now changes that, and you can print that. And now we can return to the spreadsheet data and display the formulas. Okay, so we can click back on home, and we can go back to sheet 1. And now in order to display our formulas, there's two ways of doing it. You can either go via formulas, and you can go to the show formulas option over there. That will show your formulas for you. That's the one way. To take it off, you just deselect the formulas. The alternative is you use your control key and the toggle, which is the little symbol that's next to the 1 key on the left hand side. So you use your control key plus the toggle. Okay, so then you display your formulas, and you can just adjust your column widths to make sure that it displays it correctly. And you can then go ahead and adjust the column widths as needed. Then we've been asked to hide columns B, C, E, and F. So in order to hide columns, you select B, C, E, and F. So to do hide those, we right click and we click on hide. So those are the ones we hide. And then we can save the spreadsheet as a maze form and print it in landscape format. So go file, save as, and we're going to change the name there to maze form. Save that. And we can print it in landscape form. So we're going to go home. We're going to go file, print. Okay. Waiting for our print option to come up. Okay, so mine has been set at the moment to print to PDF. And we've been asked to change to landscape. So in my case, it's already on landscape mode. So I can go ahead and print that in that format. Okay. And that's it. We can basically, we've completed this activity. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.